When I started school, the teachers told my mom I was slow and that I'd never amount to much. Most of the people around me wrote me off. But my mom said not so, and she insisted on a certain second grade teacher, Mrs. Gilmore, who was known to help slow kids succeed. Mrs. Gilmore in that first progress report wrote the same thing as the others. I didn't really understand what was going on. Unlike the other two teachers, though, she made it her mission to work with me until by the end of the school year, she wrote that my reading and comprehension were on par with the grade level. When the world says you can't, I learned from my mom, you say, I can, and I will. I received a coveted full-ride scholarship to the Air Force Academy, but I had trouble declaring my major. See, I wanted to declare physics, but the advisor said I couldn't. Why not? He said blacks can't do physics. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. When the world says you can't, you say I can and I will. I declared physics, and junior year, one class got so hard I actually thought about quitting, y'all. I would go into the instructor's office for extra help. I'd come out more confused than when I went in. After about 2 months, on a day when all the other professors were gone, he leveled with me. Look, my job is to get rid of you. If you'll stop coming in here, I'll stop giving you the wrong answers. Not only did I graduate number 5 in my class, but this lady who was told blacks can't do physics went on to do physics for 23 years in the Air Force, being the first African American to serve in that role. One attitude that served me well, y'all, was to remember that when the world says you can't, you say I can and I will. Halfway through my career, I came home from a military trip to find my house sold, stuff thrown out, divorce papers in my face. I was now a single military mother with over $845,000 of debt. People told me to walk away from those debts or just file bankruptcy. This was too much. There was no way you could overcome that. Well, let me tell you, when the world says you can't, you say I can and I will. I learned how to hustle in a hurry. I was fighting for my legacy and for my son. And I now empower others to win with money using the same money management and business strategies that got me out of all that debt. When the world says you can't, you say I can and I will. Then came the biggest challenge of my life. And I know some of you are saying, what could be worse than all that? Well, let me tell you what could be worse. Giving up. And too many of us have given up on our dreams, on our calling, on our gifting, on our greatness. We let our vast potential fall by the wayside because too many people tell us we can't. Or the enemy fights us in our thought life, and we tell ourselves that we can't, that we're not good enough, that we aren't worthy, that we don't deserve success. No matter how much you've accomplished, somehow that next challenge just seems like it's too much. It's like we forget all the times that the Lord opened doors or strengthened us, and we begin to yield to anxiety and depression. And that's exactly what I did after a car accident that left me with post-concussive syndrome and memory issues. Y'all, this scientist who used to write reports for the president couldn't even make Monopoly change with my son. I thought my life was over. At work, I became the butt of many jokes as well as the office scapegoat, like many of you have when you fell on hard times. I'm so glad a friend reminded me what I told her over all those years. When the world says you can't, you say I can and I will. I found the right doctors, I found the right supplements, the right diet, and today I run an international financial education company. If you take nothing else away from this talk, remember, when the world says you can't, you say I can and I will. I'm JJ Conway. Y'all take care and be blessed.